Hey everybody, Chuck Cook, Jesse Bless, Greg Siskin. We're missing the fourth member of the Musketeers. Aaron is actually at a detention center today. He's not in the detention center. He's visiting a detention center. Just to be clear, Aaron has a robust removal practice, and so we miss him tremendously. But we wanted to come online today specifically to talk to our Go and Gomz plaintiffs. And Jesse Bless, of course, many of you know Jesse was involved in this case, but he was on the Gomz side of the case. And Jesse did the principal part of the oral argument in this case. But this, and really talking about, waiting 21 months to get a 16-page decision that looks like it was written overnight after we asked them for the decision a month ago. So I'm going to get initial impressions. Jess, your initial impression of this?
I mean, it's a difficult decision. I think it's a decision that when I was there at the argument that Katsas really wanted to make, and the circuit precedent wasn't on his side, and he spent how much ever time he had trying to distinguish kind of the old cases which allowed judges to craft remedies for violations past the deadline, and he decided to do it differently for this case. I think what's interesting and what the government is trying to use the decision for is incredibly dishonest. But this isn't the court did not say Judge Mehta was wrong on the merits, and for Gomz and for Go, there were injunctions and summary judgment on the merits, meaning they deliberately slow walked or shut down the diversity visa program. And I think, it's really disappointing for Judge Mehta, who gave the government a lot of credit and courtesy by allowing them to issue visas in a longer period of time than he would have if he had to do it over today. And that's the takeaway for me, is that, Judge Mehta could have said order 35,000 visas for 2020. And, in hindsight, is of course, we don't have it, but that's the takeaway. The takeaway is, this isn't really a question of that we were wrong on the merits. It's a question of we were wrong on the remedy, or Judge Mehta didn't have the authority he thought he had. So I don't know, did I bore everyone to tears? Did everyone leave? But I'll keep talking until Chuck comes back.
We lost Chuck.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I think it really is a real, essentially this. It's really about what judges can do when they can do it, and judges cannot order visas after a deadline. But it doesn't mean, absolutely not, that you can shut down a program. And I think, I don't know if Curtis said this or someone else said this, but really it's, if they do this next time, we're just going to have to sue them earlier, so that we can get the remedy for.
The irony of that, Jesse, is we did sue them early.
You did. Go did. Yeah.
We sued in November, knowing they were going to do this. Katsas, of course, ignored that in his decision. But we did sue her. We knew they would do this.
Yeah.
But I think one takeaway I had from this is the note that sanctions may be appropriate if this ever happens again. And if Trump comes back, I suspect we'll see a repeat of this issue. But this case, I think, does give us some ammunition for that. What breaks my heart is that the 20,000 clients and people waiting for a decision in this case for 21 months could have moved on with their lives 21 months ago. Here's my great disappointment. Judge Srinivasan.
Totally.
I am like, dude, you lost me, man. I hope you never get on the Supreme Court, because you abandoned you could have easily written a dissent and said, no, Judge Katsas is wrong here. I mean, really, I mean, I don't think Henderson had anything to do with this case. She just checked out.
She didn't have anything to do with the oral argument. I mean, no. I mean, she's
Henderson. The fact that Trina
turning
Dawson,
up my camera so I can have a little more bandwidth. But I just think also the
Greg, by the way, is joining us from a cruise ship while I am joining you from my farm. Neither of which are idyllic situations for Wi-Fi or cell phone coverage.
yeah.
Now, Jess.
Yeah, not ideal.
Oh, Greg, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here. I turned the camera off because I thought it would give me more bandwidth. But Judge Mehta really, I thought, issued a pretty thoughtful decision. It gave a lot of analysis, and I agree with you completely, Chuck. First of all, the D.C. Circuit taking nearly 2 years to issue this decision, and isn't there something you could have done about it? Unfortunately, there wasn't anything, but I don't think that excuses the behavior of the court in this case taking that long to issue a decision. But also, I think you're right that they really didn't, they didn't give any analysis to counter what Judge Mehta issued in his decision, and I feel bad a bit for Judge Mehta as well, having that decision overturned in this kind of way.
I think Judge Mehta may be going.
I hope you haven't heard any of that.
I should have made them issue more visas. And he's pretty much looking at this. I should have just made them more harder. I should have made a damn decision faster. How about that, Judge Mehta? He delayed several weeks in making his decision. Here's something that really bothered me is how Katz has treated al-Makrami. Basically saying, yeah, I know we said that, but we didn't really answer the question whether you could do it. And now you can. To me, I think he's overruling precedent, in my opinion, in how he treats al-Makrami here.
I know the al-Makrami team is maybe going to say otherwise, but yeah, it's tough to read that decision as allowing a district court judge to order a remedy now that the statutory deadline has passed. I mean, other than sanctions, right? I mean, I don't know you can't order visas. So what can you do? And I think the other takeaway though, really, so I think al-Makrami's, Katz is smart enough to issue a decision the way he wants it to be. I mean, that's no question. But what's interesting enough, and again, I kind of go back to, I always kind of bring it back to so Biden now flexed his executive authority and he won, and so great, good for you. But if he really wanted to do the right thing, he could, suggest to Congress, hey, I'd like a bill for 10,000 or 30,000, whatever it is, diversity visas to be recaptured. And I want a small bill, and I want you to put it on my desk, and I want to sign it. And nobody is going to tell him he can't do that. And so it's one thing to go and want executive authority, but it's another thing for someone, and I have a real big problem with this, to run on how evil those proclamations were and to promote, I want diversity visas, I want the cap raised, and then fight us for 2.5 years and not do something about it now. Do something about it.
Well, especially, Jesse, after the executive order of the inauguration day about why specifically these visas. And then to do the exact same thing. And that executive order cost us an order in Gov. The judge relied exclusively on that executive order or that pronouncement by Biden on the 21st to dismiss our code case. Specifically. I mean, to me, it's the ultimate bad faith. The ultimate bad faith in this case.
And again, does the president is he really aware? No. But are people at people at Department of State? Yes. Are people in the White House legal office? Yes. So if you want, and again, he's doing things now that, like, oh, parole in place. Okay, let's see what happens. Killing the border on a 212F. Not sure that's actually legal. But on this one, I can't square his position because he controls the Department of Justice too, by the way. It's Department of Justice, the Department of State. I can't square his position or that of his legal team with what he's out there running on.
Right. What was the policy benefit to the administration of taking this position? It's hard to figure it out.
Power.
It's power.
I understand that, but how do you explain that to the public? I mean, there has to be some sort of explanation. Maybe they don't think they'll ever have to explain it, but there should. Power we know is in the background on a lot of the things they fight us on. But at least with some of these other cases, they can make a policy argument why it was a good idea. Here, there's not a good idea. I don't see what the argument is.
I guess what he would say, it's the same thing kind of with the border policy. I don't have a functioning Congress who will give me more diversity visas. But I need to control policy as much as possible. I don't think judges have the right to tell me how many visas I can issue or when I have to issue them, even if a tyrant closes down the entire system.
Right.
I win, so I've gotten that authority, so I can do it. So now I tell them, exercise it. Exercise your power.
Parole all these people in. Give them all parole.
Right.
Parole all the DD lottery winners in.
Yeah.
But I think the reality is, and it really is a theme, and as we transition to November, and let's just assume that Biden wins a second term, I think that he's been remarkably inconsistent. The State Department has gone so far away from some of the beneficial things that USCIS, let's give USCIS a little credit and give them a little flowers. They've done some okay things. The border, absolute disaster, total disaster. Not doing something for DACA earlier makes no sense because it's almost too late. Like, it's,
this thing he's doing for DACA is a gigantic nothing burger.
Yeah.
It's a nothing burger. Hey, expose yourself to a 10-year bar and we'll give you a 6-year H-1B.
This is the situation though, right? And this is exactly why this case ties into that, perhaps. The State Department's basically telling everybody we get to do whatever we want, right? So if Biden issues this, we're gonna recommend waivers or I don't know, whatever the waiver policy is gonna be. But okay, but what if a consulate or embassy doesn't feel like doing it? What can be done?
See, I think this case ties directly to Munoz and SCOTUS. It's the same department, basically arguing for unfettered power, the ability to not.
But that's that's almost a bigger question. Is in that
power
case.
to issue visas. It's the power to not. They want the power to not issue visas. The exact opposite of what their job is.
Well, but I will say this because
the administration fought on Munoz.
Well, there's three points to this, and I actually was just helping to draft a kind of a supplemental authority. Okay, in Munoz was a visa denial, so that's you can't tell me that somehow translates into the withholding of a decision. Because they actually did, and that was Gorsuch's whole concurrence. So don't cite Munoz and tell me that my admin processing is now over. Yeah. For Goodluck and another case, 9 Iraqi allies, that the DC Circuit did come out and say that you cannot just sit on visas. The government waived the issue, and it was noted in both opinions.
Yeah, in your opinion, we didn't address this issue.
And the other thing is, and I looked at this again today. In Judge Mehta's August of 2021 decision that tied all our cases together, the government had been pumping consular non-reviewability for the withholding of a final decision on visas. And he skewered them. And he said there's no support for the sweeping authority. And these are his words. There's no support for the sweeping authority that you can just simply sit on a visa. And they waived that on appeal. And it was noted by Katz's. And the fact that they're going around in filing 28 supplemental authority, that to me is worthy of sanctions.
Oh,
I
no,
can't
I think
doing
it's
it.
sanctionable. I think absolutely. Say, dude, they just submitted a lie to you, Judge. You should sanction them under Rule 11.
They waived it.
Violation what they're doing. Absolutely, absolutely.
It's insane. But I know a number of colleagues, and I've actually had one filed, but I know a number of colleagues where they filed this and they're saying Munoz means administrative processing is not reviewable. And so does Goodluck. Goodluck means that consular non-reviewability applies.
Cases. It's like, what are you talking about?
You waived it.
Yeah.
And what they don't cite, and they're not citing the most on-point case that was issued June 4th, which is 9 Iraqi allies.
It's directly on point.
It's,
So
man.
Jesse, make sure you share your filing with us. And we obviously should file it in our other cases, but it's extraordinarily frustrating. And again, I feel terrible for the people that we helped thousands of people get green cards. Thousands of people got their green cards, but thousands more were screwed over by the system, particularly in Africa, and I think it's absolutely racist, in my opinion, that most of these folks never even had a chance in the entire continent to get their green card. So this gets us to the next step. People are asking us what we're going to do. And the reality is we'll be meeting with our co-counsel in Goodluck and Gomz. There are a couple of different options. One, you can file a request for reconsideration en banc, which means we only had 3 judges on this panel. There's 11, I think there's 11 judges in the DC Circuit, Jesse. I think it's 11.
I don't know the exact number.
You can ask them, we want all the judges to review this decision. Now, if this was in the 5th Circuit or the 11th Circuit, I would tell you not to waste your time, okay? The DC Circuit's, to me, it's an interesting idea. The other thing you can do is we can request a certiorari from the Supreme Court. In the United States, it's not an automatic appeal to the Supreme Court. It's not automatic. You have to ask them to take the case. And generally speaking, unless it's a topic pushed by Republicans, they don't take cases in which there is a split in the circuits. And this is a unique case. It's a very unique case. There is no split out there that I'm aware of.
Well, there's the 7th Circuit cases, I guess, where they said that you can reserve a visa that we cite. There were district court cases, but I think they also said that in the case called Adir. So there is limited, but like Munoz, though, you have to be careful because if the split is resolved against your position,
then you're screwed. You screw everybody in the whole country, just like
Right,
Munoz.
you're
Respect the government.
Also,
but the 5th Circuit was taken by the plaintiffs, which they should never have done. So it's to me, it's the Supreme Court might not be the option at this point. That we might want to be doing the reconsideration.
yeah,
But we understand our clients and our plaintiffs. People keep asking me, should I give up hope? I will never tell anybody to give up hope. But maybe it's time to look for alternative options to the process, unfortunately. All right, we got a couple of questions. I'm not really questions. We have a lot of comments here. Armando wants to say thank you. Thank you, Armando. It's been an honor to serve our plaintiffs and an honor to work with people like Jesse before he joined our IMMpact team and many of our co-counsel in this case. I will tell you, Jesse, Rafa, and I did oral argument on this case, and I walked out of that argument positive. I felt confident walking out of that oral argument.
yeah.
I did not feel negative. I mean, that's why Srinivasan just completely is dead to me. But it is, we put on, I thought, an exceptionally good argument. And I thought the government argument was weak.
Yeah, I mean, I think you always, when you judge your own performance and kind of your legal team, and we probably had a collection, even Nicolette Glazer, and I think there was another woman who got up there, but even the briefing, from Mayor Brown and Justice Axon.
Mayor Brown was the briefing was.
AILA Innovation Law Lab. I mean, we could not have argued it better, and in fact, we won. If you take Goodluck, Gomz, we won before the district court 6-7 times. And that's the reason. And then we had argument exactly, and they, and they withdrew it. We had taken up an appeal, and it turned out we withdrew it. But I do think that, unfortunately, we ran into a really bad panel, which is what happens.
We just didn't get a very good panel. I think we could have won that case with it. If we had the Al-Makrami panel, we probably would have won that case.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, I don't know. I think we have a judiciary right now that
it's far too political, Jesse. You can say it.
I mean, I don't buy the idea, and both sides use it, that we have a functioning Congress, so let's pass the buck over to them.
It's really not true. We don't have a function.
The thing about it is, the reality is, you're the one with being asked to do whatever it is that's being asked of you. And for you to tell someone, oh, well, Congress can fix it if they want. I don't know. It's just
not true. Hey, Armando, congratulations. One of our 601A litigation folks back from his interview.
Awesome.
Just in time for Biden to change the rules. By the way, I want to just talk for a moment about this whole Biden parole program. Look, here, just my take on this. We don't have any details, so you don't pay anybody, don't do anything. You do not know who's going to win the election. If you count on the Biden parole in place program, what is the likelihood that USCIS will adjudicate even 10,000 of those cases before the election? Likelihood is zero.
Yeah, zero.
They have no bodies to adjudicate these cases. It's zero. So it makes no sense, in my opinion, to file for that program before the election, because Trump ends the program day one. It's gone day one.
Oh yeah.
He will just
you can file, just don't rely on it.
Well, but the thing is, if you file, they now have all your information, so that they can deport you when Biden comes. So Trump's ready to deport. They're going to start with the low-hanging fruit. I believe him this time. He has people ready to go on this issue. They will go for the low-hanging fruit. I'm just telling you, that's my 2 cents. All right. It's a separate issue, Ash. 15 judges. Okay. Project 2025 renewals for naturalization. Project 2025, by the way.
Yeah, that's the Trump project.
You haven't read Project 2025.
Scary
you
stuff.
Should. And
well,
if you're a nationalist, you should be scared.
I've said this before, though, and I think Goodluck is actually one thing we can cite to when this project, if it were to be implemented. You can't shut down immigration.
Right.
That's what I mean. They didn't say that was. It goes back to what did Goodluck teach me? Goodluck taught me judges have limited authority, but they have to act before a fiscal deadline or any deadline. But they did not say Judge Mehta should not have ordered the relief. I mean, on the merits, he shut down that program. And
now I will tell you that this idea that the judge in equity can't exceed the statutory bounds. He went back to an 1874 case about that. And honestly, I don't think that case stands for the proposition that he quoted it for. And if equity doesn't allow you to restore someone to the position they would have been in other than for bad actions of the government, then in my opinion, equity doesn't exist. It's a fiction.
Yeah, and that's where I think where the Katsas and Gorsuch kind of conservative party, like they would disagree. I think Gorsuch would say that that's the whole function of Article 3.
Equity. That's the function of equity.
We're going to get a decision from the Supreme Court sometime in the next couple of days on Chevron.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious about sort of what you think that does for both a second Biden term as well as Trump's Project 2025. And because I think everybody sort of knows what's going to happen in that decision, which is they're going to scrap Chevron, and it'll be a lot harder for agencies to do rulemaking down the road.
going to delete Chevron. I think they're going to back off of Chevron. But remember, Chevron is basically for the interpretation of regulations. It's not for policy stuff like Biden is producing out there. Chevron really is the deference given to an agency and how it interprets the law that Congress created.
Right.
For me, the sad part for me, as I was thinking about this last time as I was driving, for immigration lawyers, getting rid of Chevron is a great thing because the immigration service is terrible on interpreting stuff. But for a lot of other agencies, like the FDA,
EPA,
the pollution, the EPA, I'm not sure I really want judges making those decisions.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, but it's almost like the yin to the yang on what we've seen over the last couple of weeks in immigration. It's taking power back from the executive, right? And judges. I think, and again with immigration, they always say, oh, the goal should be to have a uniform set of laws, and like, okay, we'll go look at the courts. But I think what we're going to have is we're going to have Article 3 judges having to make a lot of questions, or answer a lot of questions about what the law is without a lot of thought giving to what the agency thinks it is. And I'm okay with that because we can't even get the executive agencies to agree. If you look at what like the Child Status Protection Act, you have one policy by USCIS and you have one policy by the Department of State. And it drives me insane that a child could be two different things depending on where you are in the world for U.S. purposes.
Well, just it's equally true to state on the permanent bar as it applies to children. USCIS has no position on this. There's no official position. So we have all these DACA kids, many of whom were children that were brought back and forth to go see grandma, that have an unintentional permanent bar. They otherwise could adjust status. But CIS won't say anything. They won't issue a ruling. And state says, no, of course it applies to children. So yeah, it's this is why I would rather have judges involved in the immigration context. Aaron asked a question we've already answered, which is we are looking at the Judicial for reconsideration initially, and we have plenty of time. We're going to make a decision with our co-counsel.
Yeah, I think the other thing
if we do appeal to the Supreme Court, it's probably going to be another year. First of all, the odds of them taking the case are low. But even if they did take the case, it would be another year probably before we would have a decision.
Yeah, I will also tell you, having done Supreme Court cert requests, it is an extraordinary amount of time, an extraordinary amount of hours and work and costs that go into a Supreme Court cert petition. That's very different from a motion for rehearing en banc. So we're going to take this one day at a time, but we will continue to be here and not give up on our clients. That's just not who we are. Let's see. 618 plaintiff just approved. Congratulations, Taylor. If your spouse is from Mexico, I would continue the NBC process as long as they have no tattoos. Don't have tattoos. That's Munoz. No tattoos. Rather than the parole in place program, in my opinion.
Hey, guys, just to keep up on the score on that case, we have 228 of our plaintiffs have been approved, 0 denials, and 68 remaining.
Well, that's great. We're down to 58. That's awesome.
68.
But think about this in that 618 case. What is the reason they're adjudicating all these cases so much faster? They would still be at 4.5 years if we hadn't sued. We all know that. Yeah. 100%. So hello to lawyers from Serbia. Let's see. We'll click up there. There we go. Thanks for everything. I know it's going to be fun to move on. And really, you have to make a choice in your life. If you really want to immigrate to America, keep playing in the lottery, but look for other avenues. Keep in mind, national interest waivers, if you're in tech or healthcare or science or business.
Intercompany transfers if you start a business.
Congress could impose a limit, but on a floor. Jesse already brought this out. They could argue, we can only issue 5,000. You can't. But we won that argument. Okay, we won that argument with Judge Maida, and this court did not rule on that part of the argument. All they ruled on was reservation. That's it. Okay. You guys were aware of such law judges have no authority to issue the. This was all briefed. This was all briefed, and this was argued in front of the judges. In my opinion, Judge Katz's interpretation of what we argued is wrong. He basically bought the government argument, not our argument.
Yeah, I mean, I think we won. I mean, aware.
Believes our argument, for goodness sake.
We won that issue at the district court.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won it before Chutkin too. I mean, there were multiple. I mean, yeah. I mean,
Mississippi with the Trump judge. You won it in Mississippi with the Trump judge. So,
oh yeah, that was a good judge. That was a good
case. All right, so it's great to see everybody today. We're going to try to do more regular impact immigration updates here. We clearly want Aaron back. But for now, have a great July 4th. Even those that aren't here celebrate abroad. Greg, you be safe. Jesse, your coloring work is fantastic. You keep it up.
Yeah, I matched a shirt too. So
you have a future as an artist, I believe.
Yeah, my kids do for sure.
See everybody. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.